The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Hello and welcome to Soccer to the Max. Yes, it is alive and well, and wow, that feels weird that I'm saying that. It's been so long since I've been the one hosting this show. But yes, I am Sean Garmer, and I'm back. And here are the two people that have been holding down the fort while I've been trying to figure this shit out. Mr. Erik Watkins.
Just because I've still been in hiding doesn't mean that you didn't disappoint me, Ben!
Well, there you go. You got that first one out of the way. And Rachael McKriger is here as well.
And no, I did go to the Chargers game on Sunday at Heinz Field, and I did not headbutt another Steelers fan, and I did not choke a Chargers fan. None of that was me, but I did heckle Phillip Rivers, and it was a good time.
Well, I'm going to ask you the same question a DJ asked Ada Herberger when she won the Ballon d'Or. Do you know how to twerk, Rachael?
Do you know how to get your ass whooped?
That's what she should have said.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to pass the torch over very quickly to Erik because I think he has a very well-crafted answer for this. But all I have to say is, huh? And why? And really? Come on, bro. Erik, please.
Now, to all the fine listeners, both longtime and new of Soccer to the Max, and the other fine podcasts on the W2M network where you hear my dulcet tones, I'm sure you have a good idea of how I operate, how I live my life. And if you were ever fortunate to listen to any of our pre-show conversations for any podcast dating back many, many moons, you would have an even better idea. I am someone who's gone through shenanigans and conundrums and shenanigans that turn into conundrums and now double shenanigans and all the works. But I will say this. Even throughout my experience, even throughout my guest appearances on Snapchat, mini-vids, and other forms of internet media, I wouldn't even ask that question. Take that for what it is.
Not just that question of, do you know how big of a moment this is? And that's what's going to come out of your mouth? Like, does the word tact work for this man at all? Like,
and the fact that he can't blame anything, it was on television, I'm going to presume he was sober. I've been on a variety of different substances. That's not something that comes across my mind, at least in that situation. Time
it's sad
and place.
Because that moment is great for her, and this is what we're talking about. It's great for women's soccer in general, and that's what the impression that was left was that.
Exactly, but nevertheless, félicitations.
Yes, félicitations. Very well said, Erik, and well, we got to give a big félicitations, congratulations to Gregg Berhalter, who is now the U.S. men's national team head coach. Officially, he's been basically unofficially the head coach for like a while now. It's just nobody wanted to officially come out and say it until like this week. So, yeah, the man that put the Columbus Crew back into prominence, and now they're going to go be Austin.
Yeah, Dawn. How's that working out for you?
Wait, I thought the owner of the Cleveland Browns was buying them.
We'll see how that goes.
You want them to have the curse of that stench of a franchise?
Listen. Just let Baker Mayfield buy them then.
Can you imagine that? That'd be amazing.
Oh my God, the t-shirts alone.
But either way, Dave Sirikin was in the job a lot longer than I think a lot of people expected. A lot of names showed up that apparently either got interviewed or were never interviewed for the job, and somehow
or should have been interviewed. Tata Martino.
Exactly. It was one big farce of a investigation and research and all this stuff. Pretty much from the word go, the words Gregg Berhalter were uttered, and nothing ever happened to change that. I mean, look, I'm saying Gregg Berhalter is a terrific coach. He did his great work in Columbus. Not saying it's going to be bad for the U.S. national team, but as Rachael will attest to, there's folks out there, and you didn't even interview them.
I mean, it's just the process of, having someone and you just having your heart so set on it. Why even waste the time then? I just don't get it. If I would be more okay with the timing of Berhalter's announcement if it happened like 4 months ago.
Yeah, like right after the World Cup or something.
Right, we've been waiting and for what? For people to get passed up and not even interviewed when U.S. Soccer knows that they're going to hire Gregg Berhalter? Like, come on.
Like, how many of these friendlies you could have actually started preparing the team and who's going to be playing and all that stuff and getting that mentality, whatever it is that Berhalter wants to put out there, and getting them training the right way already instead of wasting months with Dave Sirikin because you wanted to say that you went through a process? Like, come on, U.S. Soccer.
That's like a giant PR stunt.
Exactly. And anybody that has a brain that pays attention to U.S. Soccer at all knows it's a PR stunt. Like, come on.
When is it not a PR stunt with U.S. Soccer?
That's a good point. That's a very good point. When is it not? But let's bring this in with Gregg Berhalter and what he says he wants to do. He says he wants to keep things simple for the team. They tried to get way too complicated before Sirikin, obviously, with Klinsmann, and it didn't work. Bruce Arena tried to just go, I think, way too on the other end, and perhaps Berhalter is going to do something in the middle. We know what the Columbus teams could do, right? They could attack, they could score goals, they could press when needed. The U.S. players, you have a young nucleus. You think that we could see them play like that too? Rachael?
Yes. I do. I just think you got to call in the right people. I mean, the whole thing with Bruce was you're calling in too many MLS guys. The whole thing with Jurgen is maybe you're calling in too many abroad players. I think there needs to be a nice mixture of both. You guys and I have been doing this show for almost 2 years now, which is crazy to think about. But I've always attested to having players abroad come in because you're getting the best coaching and the best action over in Europe, even maybe down in Mexico, unless you're Omar Gonzalez and you get just completely blown out in a spin move. But we're not going to go there.
Yeah, that was too good to call just your regular nutmeg. That was like nutmeg and cinnamon with a little hint of that Turkish butcher.
Wow.
Not wrong, what you said. I just think that there needs to be a good understanding of just a task. Like, they need to figure out a task and they need to really just stick with it. I think the problem with Bruce was he wanted to do way too much. He wanted to do this. He wanted to do that. He didn't just focus on like one tournament. He focused on like that tournament and, okay, here's what we want to do after that tournament, if any of this makes sense.
I mean, the thing is, he was already looking ahead like it was a foregone conclusion that they were going to qualify.
Right.
And that's the problem is, and I mean, you can go back in your head, and even Berhalter said, look, I can't speak on what happened and why they didn't get to the World Cup. This is past. And honestly, for us, it's past. Like, the World Cup happened already. Like, it's kind of dumb to go back because really, the Women's World Cup is what's about to start happening. The Gold Cup, which may get nullified if whatever this Super League happens or whatever that they're trying to do. Whether they're trying to extend the World Cup even more, or all the stuff they're trying to do right now. But either way, you have a Gold Cup. That's your first real test for Berhalter happening in the summer. You got your Copa Americas, you got your Women's World Cup. That's the focus now. And that's what Berhalter's got. He's got from now until that summer to put his plan in place and figure out who is his nucleus of players that he wants to use.
All I'm going to say is just don't screw it up, Greg. I'm giving you a benefit of the doubt because in the crew, bless those little hearts, you got a piece of my soul, but like Bruce before, not so much Dave, but like Ben, like Don, you are part of that exclusive group. I'm saying.
I mean, the good thing about Saracen is we got to see a lot of the young kids play.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's who you're going to be looking at now, moving ahead, and you hope that's who's going to be carrying you because, you got like Michael Bradley who could still go out there and play, and Josie, but that generation's getting older. So
right now it's about building around guys like Carter Vickers, Pulisic, all these guys that you still have a great mix of talent. A good portion of them are still abroad, but big talent.
Well, I mean, these last couple friendlies were not something sorry for the garbage disposal you've been hearing. I don't know what that sound is coming from, but we're trying to figure it out as we go along. Guys, I mean, these last two friendlies, when we knew Dave Saracen was pretty much, those were his last ones. They weren't great. Obviously, they were against really tough teams. Now that Berhalter has all this time to figure it out, and he has the first friendly against Panama January 27th. What do you expect to see? What are you excited that you now have a coach and what you might see leading into Gold Cup?
I am. I think what he did with Columbus was extremely admirable, and I think something to remember is that he can use a lot of those guys that he had in Columbus. Whether Zach Steffen stays there or goes overseas, he's going to be able to use Zach Steffen at his disposal. He's going to be able to use Jossie, maybe even Will Trapp. I think that there's a lot of good that can happen. I just don't want, I don't want the hype to get to anyone's head because, we've waited so long for this. But I think, we all need to be patient still.
That's why I'm kind of upset that U.S. is not in Copa America because, let's be honest again, Gold Cup is not a test. Really, it's not. So
no. The Gold Cup that's just pretty much for bragging rights, kind of showing off what we are and what we have. But grand scheme, it really doesn't mean much.
So does Nations League start after Gold Cup, or how's that work? Have they said?
I have not heard anything, but I would hope they would have that ironed out pretty soon, especially that if there's rumblings about what they want to do at a club level going towards 2026, you don't really want to put too many cards before the horse here.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out as we... Oh, at 2019, 2020, they don't have a 2000, which will be held from September 2018.
So is it the lower nations? Okay, it's the lower nations that are in it now that they're trying to set up and also use it as Gold Cup qualifying.
Right.
Then the larger CONCACAF nations get involved, it sounds like, after the Gold Cup.
Yeah, so it started already, and actually it already ended. It was till November 2018. And, oh my god, the freaking garbage disposal started again. Okay, so here's how this... Sorry, we're having to just deal with this this big noise happening. So, officially, here's how this works. We have the 6 hexagonal teams: Mexico, U.S., Costa Rica, Panama, Honduras, and Trinidad and Tobago. And the 6 teams that qualified to be in League A with them are Curacao, Haiti, Canada, Cuba, which, you know, whenever Cuba and the U.S. play, you're going to have like 20 defections. Jamaica and Martinique. That's going to be in the U.S.-Mexico group. And then after that, you have the rest of Gold Cup is... Okay, so Gold Cup got extended, right, to 16 teams?
Yes. Now, granted...
So all those teams I just mentioned are also in Gold Cup, along with Bermuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominican Republic, my god, I think that's the first ever, Nicaragua, French Guiana... No, French Guiana did not make the cut. Okay, so...
Now, keep in mind, there's actually... Everything is still a teeny bit fluid because there's one match day for qualifying left, but that's not until March. So the 16 that you just mentioned, they have the inside edge, but they will either be in League A or League B. They can't drop down any farther.
Right, because they all have... There's... Never mind, I am wrong with it. Yeah, there's 4 teams that are on the outside. French Guiana, Belize, El Salvador, and Montserrat that all have 6 points. So technically the ones that have 4 points could get in if...
No, the ones that have 4 points... So everybody from Guyana, Suriname, and on down, they cannot get into League A, but they have a shot
at getting into League B.
Yeah, they have an outside shot at League B and possibly the Gold Cup. It's not until Antigua and Barbuda and going all the way down, those teams that are officially eliminated from the Gold Cup and everybody, as you said, from Guyana down, can't qualify for League A. The only one that's really formed so far, you've got a few teams that are pretty much in League C. Puerto Rico, St. Martin, Saint Martin, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. I've really got to learn...
St. Martin and St. Martin.
Well, yeah, I got to learn how to pronounce, because it's Saint Martin and Saint Martin, because you have the French half and the Dutch half.
Right.
And they'll be... oh, Lord, that is going to be awkward when they play against each other.
Thankfully, we don't have to worry about watching that game. Yeah, so, I mean, lots of things could happen. It's all fluid, so I was wrong about that. But, yes, so March 27th, we will know who is all qualified, and then the group phase will begin September 2nd of 2019. That's after the Gold Cup and everything. So, yes, there are friendlies for the U.S., basically because they were already qualified, so they're not having to do this. So, basically, it's like I said before, the Gold Cup, that's their first test, and then they have the Nations League or whatever after that in September. So.
Oh, and just think, after we get a few cycles of this digested in our belt, imagine if we have a North American Superliga like they're planning pre-2026.
Yeah, that's the thing that could basically kill off the Gold Cup and everything else. So.
Well, not only not just kill off the Gold Cup, but personally, I could see if they form that together how they want to do it, it would for the most part kill off the CONCACAF Champions League.
Yeah, that too. Well, weren't they trying to get there's a Infantino's trying to do a World League, which would basically kill off all of the regional championships, and you just have a World League in between the World Cup. Oh, no, it was have the World Cup every 2 years instead of 4.
Yes.
Yeah, that would kill off all the championships, basically.
Yeah, which, no, I am not fond of.
I mean, if they did that to me, make it... If you're going to do that, then just do March Madness and have 64 teams or whatever. Like, at that point, if you're going to do every 2 years, who the hell cares how many teams you have in?
No.
Because if you're complaining about that not enough teams get to be in, and these players don't get to play in enough big championships or whatever, then just you would make it as you said, like March Madness, a 64-team knockout tournament, and use that World League. Like what UEFA is doing with their Nations League, using it as part of qualifying for Euro 2020, use that World League as qualification. Yeah. I mean, we'll see how that works. But, yeah. That's for another podcast. Now that we've gone through that, I think the only thing really left is to talk about the NWSL schedule they've announced the details here. So the 2019 college draft is on January 10th, which is almost a month away. The preseason starts on March 4th, and the season starts about a month later, April 13th. There's a 2-week break for the Women's World Cup, June 3rd to the 14th. The regular season technically ends October 13th. And then the championship will be October 22nd. So it'll be almost a full month later than last year's season. Rachael, I mean, how does this affect things? What do you think about them making this season a month later on both ends?
I think for the teams that have MLS counterparts, like your Utah Royals, your Houston Dash, and your Portland, who else? Orlando. Can't really count Seattle because they're not in partnership with the Sounders. I think that's going to make it hard for scheduling, considering how long the MLS season goes. I I'm not too fond of starting opening weekend, April 13th and 14th. I think that's a little too late. I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. But I'm excited for the draft. I can't wait to see who gets drafted to what team and, what teams make trades, if any. I mean, it'll be fun.
Yeah, that season is, we'll be talking about it pretty soon. And then MLS will also be restarting close to, it'll have restarted by the time the NWSL season has it. I think MLS usually restarts towards the end of March.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll have restarted again before NWSL even starts their season, which is weird. So yeah, that makes it even weirder. But yeah, and then they'll only have less than 2 months to play, and then they have to take that break for the World Cup. So, then you have to wonder about form for a lot of the players and all that.
And you've got to wonder about form for the college players that Jill Ellis wants to bring in. I mean, their seasons are going on right now, and I mean, it's over. So you've got people can't really say anything about Emily Fox because she's a senior and she's probably going to get drafted. But you've got Tierna Davidson, who they rely so heavily on. She's not going to be in season playing regular soccer. You can train and train and train all you want.
Right.
But you're not on the field playing. I just don't see how. I mean, I'll take Abby Dahlkemper over her any single day of the week.
Yeah. Well, and then the friendlies that you play are very few and far between as well. So.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that because isn't with the NCAA, aren't they in the College Cup or they just wrapped it up?
Yeah, they just wrapped it up. Florida State won.
Ugh.
No.
Hey, I'm happy they won because no more UNC and no more Stanford, so.
Yeah, well, that makes one of us. I would rather have UNC and Stanford than that place.
Yeah, I mean, this is from people that live in Florida, so we're kind of biased there. Especially Erik with the Hurricanes. Not wanting the Seminoles to win is
At Canes football, work to correct this, please. I have faith in you.
Please do. Please do. So, yeah, I mean, you got huge news with the U.S. coach being named. NWSL schedule has been formulated now. Things are rolling, and you got the MLS final.
You're getting what you want. You're getting what you want, Don. Are you finally happy?
Well, I think if Atlanta doesn't win, he's not getting what he wants.
Well, it'll still come close. And granted, this is a guy who is still, I'm rooting for Atlanta. Mostly because, well, Tata Martino can give a middle finger to everybody in U.S. soccer.
Yeah, and it's in Atlanta. So you got that of having that huge stadium sold out.
Yeah, for a winning team this season.
Exactly. And you got a little bit of a old guard in Portland trying to combat Tata having a fantastic season. So let's see how that happens. I mean, I think either way it's going to be a really fun game. You hope, anyway.
Anybody but the Timbers. They beat my Sounders.
Not to
plus they're the rivals. You can't have them win.
No Timbers.
Not to mention it's funny. Last year, Toronto won the title with the then record 69 points. Who's to say Atlanta can't repeat that? And what does that really say about the Red Bulls?
I think it says everything about the Red Bulls.
I mean, this is, again, just like the Golden State Warriors, the Seattle Mariners, the Detroit Red Wings, the New England Patriots. Fantastic record-breaking regular seasons, yet you come home empty-handed.
Yep. But hey, I mean, like MLS kind of, like you said, got what they wanted. Let's see if that game lives up to the hype, and then you go off into the off season.
Exactly, and I feel justified about what happened at Audi Field. Because I warned you, Ben, but no!
And now you're going to have an XFL team in there.
Oh, yeah, and then see them credibly lose, too. Yeah, see how well that goes. Hell, I petitioned Vince McMahon to bring back the human scramble so I could take everybody out on that team.
Are you a little miffed that it's Tampa Bay and not Orlando?
No, because Orlando's getting an AAF team, so I'm at peace with that.
That's fair. But all right, I think that kind of covers what we were going to talk about on the show here. It's a little shorter one just to kind of get back in the groove and get things going again. Thank you for joining us here. Sorry about the crazy garbage disposal washing machine sound that was coming
Sorry.
various times. But hey, sometimes it is what it is with live audio. Can't help it. But yes, this has been fun to be back on and doing again. Maybe we'll come back on the day after was the finals on Sunday. Maybe we'll, if we all get a chance.
No, it's on Saturday.
On Saturday, well, maybe on Sunday, once we've all had a chance to watch it, we'll come on and talk about the game and if there's been any other news till then. But all right, thank you for hanging out with us. If you like what you heard, you can always hit subscribe, Soccer to the Max. You can subscribe to everything WTM Network, and you get everything we do, which includes Erik on the kickoff and me doing Video Games to the Max, which we're going to do our Game Awards post-show tomorrow, so if you've been following that. We started doing video podcasts for that. Sorry, the first one didn't go too well, but we're trying to figure it out. And yeah, make sure you hit that WTMnet.com. Make sure you read what Rachael does on Last Word on Soccer as well. And we'll see you next time, everybody.
Come on, Atlanta. I need one team to wears red and black this season to win me a trophy. Peace.
Bye.